To be successful, the Chiefs have to get a better pass rush coming this season. They need to get bigger, faster, and stronger and work together as a team. We're going to talk about how they can do that in 2018 right now. Welcome back to Ryan Going Rogue, and that's what this channel is all about. My take on what's going on with the Kansas City Chiefs, and today we have to talk about the pass rush. It's probably the most important thing that this team has to fix to improve in 2018. Now, if you're new to this channel, go ahead and click the subscription and the bell if you would. We're growing really quick, and it's a great group of fans on here. I'm having a blast doing it. We're going to talk about all facets of football. If you like what you're seeing, please leave a thumbs up and let everybody else know. It helps us grow. It helps us find more Chiefs fans to talk to. So I would appreciate that. The big thing about this defense, and yeah, it's gone through a major overhaul. On every level of the defense, there's going to be some new wrinkles. And that's really what they need to do. There are some things that can be fixed and some things that we have to hope develop in order for this Chiefs team to get better in 2018. And first and foremost is the pass rush. With the young secondary, the pass rush is the #1 thing that can protect the guys in the back by getting pressure up front. And it has to come pretty much across the board. What we saw as a couple of good examples from 2017 is what they can do when they're fully manned. And by that, I mean specifically, if you look at week 2 from 2017, when they played the Eagles, who eventually won the Super Bowl of all things with their backup quarterback, the Chiefs know pretty well. Yeah, it's a great example. Their defense was cooking that day pretty well. The Chiefs were as well. And the back and forth came from being able to get pressure along the front, with the outsides pinching and making room for what can happen up the middle as well. Chris Jones had a day. Dee Ford got some action. Justin Houston obviously got some action. But they are dependent on working together. Dee Ford played a season removed in 2016 very well, and led the league at the midway point in terms of sacks. They got Justin Houston back, were able to play together, and on that day in Philadelphia, they were able to get 23 total pressures, including 5 sacks, on 46 passing attempts. That's incredible. That is a productive defense that can protect the secondary. And that came from Chris Jones. It came from some good work by Bob Sutton, sending Dan Sorensen on a really, really memorable play. A lot of images of that. And together they were able to perform that. When Dee Ford got hurt, he only played in 6 games in 2017. And when he got hurt, it took a lot of steam out of the defense because the offenses were able to game plan, scheme, tweak, do whatever they wanted, focusing on Chris Jones and Justin Houston, because they knew that those were the only 2 places they were going to get pressure. And with Houston a little saddled, still coming back with injury, without having that counterpart on the other side across from him, it was a very, very tall order. Played a lot of coverage, and we've known about, people have been talking about that all off season. I think that's situational, but again, because they can set their offensive priorities to get him a situation where he has to backpedal. Now going forward in 18, the Chiefs have to have that bookend. That is the #1 thing, so that the offenses can't shift to one side, taking care of Jones and Houston at the same time. They have to get penetration from some of the other big guys up front. Allen Bailey's got to push the pocket more. You got to get something from Xavier Williams. You have to get more push. I think Jones is going to play a bigger role, and that's going to help. And in fact, you might even see Jones playing outside, like a wide 9 kind of thing, when they go into that 4-2 look. And that's something he proved he can do as well. But the down in, down out every time has to come from another outside linebacker. And right now, at this point in the gap between minicamp and training camp, we don't know about Dee Ford. The Chiefs have said that he's going to be available. Okay. We don't know if that's going to be full go or not. And so at this point, we have to think, if Dee Ford's there, they're back to where they were at the beginning of last season, where they have a duo and they have Jones up the middle. They should get some push from some of the other guys. And that looks like a front that can make something happen in terms of getting pressure. If Ford isn't there, then that turns into a bigger question. And Ford, in his 6 games, he put together a couple of nice ones. And being able to make this development where the Chiefs have brought on the outside linebacker coach, specifically for them, so they can get some new looks, so they can get some new schemes, particularly, and this is the thing that I think is going to be key to the Chiefs getting work done out on the edge, and that is Justin Houston moving around. Houston has lined up almost exclusively on the left side of the defense for most of his career, and he's done well. Dee Ford, unfortunately, has done best from that side as well, and that's the problem. Ford cannot go over to the right where Houston can. Houston can rush inside, outside, both sides of the field. He can line up on guards if he wants. He's got that strength aspect to his game, and that is his best aspect. Not the outside super speed rusher like Von Miller, but I take nothing away. Justin Houston is on the same plane as Von Miller. They both had down seasons last year when they didn't have a guy working across from them. And that's the key. Now, if you like what we're talking about and you have a comment, I want to know what you guys think. So please drop some comments down below and let me know what you're thinking as far as where they are, those two in particular. And what I want to ask you guys to do is spread the word a little bit. Tell your friends we're doing something cool here, and it's growing quickly. A lot of conversation and a lot of folks looking forward to the season. So with that said, more guys that can help. If Ford isn't able to go, that puts a monkey wrench in the whole plan. And the back is something nobody can really diagnose very well. It's always a question mark. And once you've had an injury, it's generally thought that it's going to be something you're going to continue to have an injury with. So we have to look at what the Chiefs have planned in terms of the depth that Brett Veach has created behind him. And it starts with Tanoh Kpassagnon. Apparently, he's taking a lot of the reps at minicamp. Getting that experience. When you see in drills and he's working with Justin Houston, trying to get his footwork down, I think he's the guy that's going to get the first crack at filling in for Ford. A year in the defense makes a huge difference between the calls, the alignments, how to run the stunts, what's going to happen. And yes, he is going to have to play some coverage. The outside linebackers, as much as we want to see them pin their ears back, there are going to be passing downs. The outside linebackers are going to drop. Bob's just going to do that. It's just the way his defense is going to function. So Kpassagnon has to be able to do that as well. That is one thing that Breeland Speaks, the other option, the rookie, didn't do a whole lot of. He has played off the ball, but always going forward. All the film that I watched, he played forward out of that off-ball position, whether it was stand-up outside linebacker in a 9 tech, or when they lined him up deep in a middle linebacker kind of slot. He's got the mobility, and that's a really tantalizing thing about his game, but he's not ready to drop into coverage. I don't care how well he did in OTAs and minicamp. Even training camp, he can make a lot of progress. Camp is a crucible that will crush you into making progress or falling by the wayside. And I think he's going to make progress, but is he ready to face NFL competition? No. It's just not the way it's going to work. Passing downs, he can do what he does. But I think Kpassagnon is the guy that's going to be out there because they know they have to be able to take some coverage. And that basically gives you a top 4 of the outside linebackers. The question mark is going to be, how much has Tanoh Kpassagnon learned? Can he set the edge better? He's certainly got the physique. Leverage is an issue for him. So tall, so long, getting under blockers like we've seen from Justin Houston. Speaks may have something similar. We'll have to see how they come along, but that's going to be an aspect that will determine who can be on the field and be ready to be in the passing situations that we all look forward to seeing them perform in. That's what it's going to come down to. And the last guy that has to take a look at is Frank Zombo, a guy that's been on the roster bubble for years and now is really the 5th guy in that outside linebacker depth chart. Do they keep 5? That's a stretch, especially when they have so many guys at inside linebacker as well, and keeping more than 10 linebackers is a stretch in itself. I don't know how they can pull that off, but if there's a 5th, it's going to be Frank Zombo. They may have the opportunity to go 4 if they feel like Kpassagnon and Breeland have come along, and if they have, that's all going to be dependent on Dee Ford. But together, they need to have pressure across from Justin Houston, and maybe it's on the right, maybe it's on the left, or maybe it has to move around. Luckily, both Kpassagnon and Breeland have played on both sides. Breeland Speaks is actually, I think, a little bit better at switching sides. I still like Tanoh from the right-hand side of the defense, but they'll be able to move it around some, and that's the advantage that they have. They'll have to take advantage of that, but I think that they can. So that's where we're at this point. When camp breaks, we'll see who's getting the reps and who's making progress getting those pressures. But that's where we stand today. I appreciate all of you watching, and I'll talk to you next time.